No, but I'm really glad that you would bring that up because it's true. Our boundaries help us to stay true to our authentic selves. So we can discuss the connection between self-love and boundaries because establishing these personal limits for ourselves becomes a natural extension of having a healthy sense of self-worth and your self-esteem. Find yourself not having these limits, we either become entwined with others or we completely wall ourselves off and protect ourselves from others, which breeds a profound sense of loneliness and isolation. We frequently find ourselves putting more and more of our energy into other people, putting in extra hours to manage, men, take care of, or just simply be obligated to them, all while we ignore our own needs and our own well being. When we're young, being obedient or quiet and agreeable, simple and invisible was frequently rewarded. Like, when you really think about it, how many times have you heard people say, children should be seen and not heard? It was almost as if we didn't deserve to be in charge of ourselves. And the underlying message is that do as I say and not as I do, meaning you have no right over your own autonomy to do what it is that you need to do for yourself. We were in excellent standing as children as long as we followed the big people's instructions. But as soon as we strayed, that's when we would find ourselves in danger. And the alternative was to cut ties with our true selves because it hurt and brought up so much humiliation for us. We evolve into we evolve into individuals who put on a show purely for acceptance and approval at the expense of our own needs. Me personally, I've experienced both sides of this argument. For a large part of my life, I had absolutely no boundaries and gave endlessly to others since I couldn't defend myself or my own needs and wants. Or back when I had took a vacation with a few friends, and we had a terrific time. But once I got home, I could feel the despair and anxiousness rising up in me, and it was almost crippling. I recall feeling so uneasy in my own skin that I wanted to immediately escape it. I understood that the uneasy melancholy was indeed a severe grief as I sat with it over time. I felt free when I was on vacation regarding my daily activities and how I intended to spend my time. I felt at ease in that moment. In my everyday life, when I was not on vacation, I felt constrained and obligated to all of the people who essentially depended on me for one thing or another. I understood that I was leading a different life. Although I had created a life that made people say, oh, wow, she's got it all together, it wasn't the life that felt authentic to me. The revelation that I had been living for everyone else except for myself led to the anguish that I experienced on the day that I came back home from that vacation. I had fulfilled all the expectations society and my family had of the nice girl, and yet I was still somehow unhappy. Even after this event, it took me some time to realize just how much I was appeasing and overpleasing. I eventually tipped the pendulum to the opposite extreme and started to build up a wall after having my adrenal glands fried twice as a result of my incessant overserving, overgiving, and unending care about what other people thought about me. I had become weary of people taking advantage of me and requesting, or more like demanding, my time and energy. So, because of this, the word no became my mantra until I realized just how lonely and alienated I had felt when I woke up one day. I had completely cut everyone out of my protection. We have a hardwired need for community and connection and a sense of belonging in a group of people. When we feel secure in the company of people and we're able to participate in a dance of co regulation, our neurological systems function flawlessly. Moving towards healthy limits that are adaptable, fluid, and gives us the option to modify is what we should be doing. Healthy limits aren't totally free and open, but they also don't go too far in the opposite direction and become a wall of defense. Attachment styles too, because attachment styles and boundaries, they kind of go hand in hand. With our mothers or primary caregivers, we formed our earliest attachments. We develop what's known as a secure connection. If our mother is consistently showing compassion, a friendly face, and presence when we needed her, we develop something known as an insecure attachment if we didn't have this experience and our mother was unkind, distant, unreliable, and unable to understand our feelings and emotions when we're young children. There's a good likelihood that as adults with this deep pool of uncertainty, we're looking for another adult to satisfy our wants or to somehow fill this void in our souls. The emotional atmosphere in my family was pretty much under my mother's control. I had to immediately tread carefully after she clenched her jaw or arched an eyebrow. I brought with me the idea that I was in charge of everyone else's emotions and that if someone was sad, it was my responsibility because I was raised in such an emotionally closed off and rigid atmosphere. I squandered countless amount of hours, days, and even weeks fretting about possible hostility or disapproval. I was desperately trying to fill a great void in my life with the approval and acceptance of other people. It took me years to figure out how to treat myself nicely and provide my inner child with the affection and recognition that she was craving, as well as a kind witness. I once heard the term kindful from one of my mentors, and it just really stuck. It simply refers to being kind to yourself, learning that no one else can provide us the inner safety and security that we need is a prerequisite of developing our healthy boundaries. We have to develop the self reparative skills and the internal safety net that we long for as a part of our healing effort or our healing journey. This job isn't always simple. It takes effort to develop a strong sense of authenticity and integrity within yourself. The irony is that we lay the precise foundation needed for this healthier, intimate relationship and friendships when we discover how to meet our own needs and understand that we can establish our own internal safety. So, learning to stay true to ourselves and be your authentic self is the best thing that you can do. The goal here is to simply establish what makes you you. And those things are your wants and your preferences, your wishes and desires. You may have heard that a million times already, but perhaps a million and one times is what it's going to take. So you have to really let that sink in. Any relationship that necessitates your self abandonment in order to maintain harmony is unhealthy. There's no getting around that. It's unhealthy. So, as we develop a healthier version of ourselves and come to understand our genuine worth, we stop tolerating the individuals who mistreat us or they minimize our value as much. A luxury rather than a right. being in your energy. You have to tell yourself this every day, sometimes just to make sure that it sinks in. If we truly believe this, we will eventually begin attracting healthier people who do appreciate us because they respect themselves. We allow ourselves the chance to investigate what our hearts genuinely need and desire as we let go of the fake self that we had to build in order to gain acceptance and keep ourselves safe. It's possible that your newfound boundaries are going to annoy the people in your life who were so used to you just being easygoing or going with the flow and not stirring up any controversy. I recently came across this circumstance where a friend pleaded with me for the old me who was no longer available to cater to her whims and demands. She adored me when I was in a one sided friendship with her, but I was unable to continue our friendship in that manner because I was giving, 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 and then I had nothing else to give. So, my new rule is that I only engage in connections with people on both sides, give and take. Boundary art is so honest, which is what I love about it the most. We are displaying the true and authentic selves when we set limits, since they're based on our values and our needs. We're asking, are you able to meet me in this? This is what I need. This is what I want. Our boundaries provide us the chance to build relationships based on utter honesty and truth, but sometimes they they just can't. So you have to be healthy, entire, and attached to your truth in order to have these good limits. In order to build relationships and the life that you enjoy, you have to learn how to take charge and speak what is your truth. So I'm going to leave you with two exercises to start developing your boundaries. These workouts may appear straightforward, yet they are highly effective. The phrase a little plus often equals a lot. And that's something that I've been saying a lot lately. These techniques become embodied when they are repeatedly used. We no longer need to think about them as much because they are beginning to come naturally to us. So, the first exercise is to stop auto yesing, meaning you just immediately say yes. From now on, if someone asks you a question, your first reaction is that you have to wait for at least 24 hours before answering. Or if they ask you to do something, come to something, show up for someone, just give it time. Say, hey, let me get back to you on that. Give yourself 24 hours to mill it over. This exercise is significant because it allows you to halt and tune into yourself, into your body, into your needs, your wants, your mental capacity. When faced with a codependency, good girl, bad boy, vice versa, or people pleasing cycle, we automatically answer yes 150% of the time. So, this exercise interrupts that habit and it allows you the time to reflect about what feels good and expansive to you. The second exercise is to take some time to write in your journal on the following issues. The first, where am I surrendering control of my life? Number two, what am I putting up with that no longer seems right to me? Number three, how did my lack of limits as a child benefit me? And then number four, in what current circumstances or connections do I have the chance to begin strengthening my sense of boundaries? These two activities are effective methods for assisting you in making and putting into practice new decision making and actions. In regards to your boundaries, the only way out is through you feeling like you're running into a wall. Yes, it has a clumsy vibe. No, your newly discovered boundaries won't always be correct. Hello, good child. But with practice and help, eventually you'll get there.